Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. Absolutely delighted that that so many people are joining us, and thank you very much to Jocelyn for extending the hand of friendship to invite us along today. We hope you enjoy the session. For those of you that just clicked and weren't aware, this is all about the release of the Change Management Toolkit version 3. So, if I can click this, we're going to start with some welcomes and introductions. You will be delighted to know that it won't be my voice that you predominantly hear this afternoon. We have some rather other interesting and voices for you to hear. But what we would like to do, and what has amazed us actually, is the number of people that have signed up for the webinar, which is fantastic. But the sheer range of roles of people that have signed up as well. And what would be nice, I hope you can see part of your role on there actually on the, I put everything into a word cloud. So hopefully you can see part of your role or your entire role represented. But it would be nice if you could introduce yourselves in chat. That just helps with the whole community spirit, and you can do that as we introduce ourselves. I shall start off the proceedings by just saying my name is James Aubrey. I'm the Education and Development Lead, and I work a fair chunk of my time with the Change Management team, and spent many years in education and training. I shall now move on, and Julie Atkins should be with us. There you are.
Caught you out.
You did.
Hi all, I'm Julie Atkins. I lead the change management function within digital partnering in NHS England, and so I'll be telling you a little bit more about what I do alongside my colleagues. Rich, you're next.
Thank you, Julie. Afternoon, everyone. So my name's Rich Oliver. I am part of the Frontline Digitisation Change Management programme of work. So my role is predominantly working with trusts on the front line and the support of EPR upgrades or implementations.
Thank you, Rich.
And
yeah, well, every team has to have a plethora of Julies, and obviously we are lucky enough to have two. But last but not least, Julie Wright. Hello.
Thanks, James. Lovely introduction. Hi all, I'm Julie Wright. I'm one of the Senior Implementation and Business Change Managers. Like Rich, I work on the Frontline Digitisation programme across the national programme. I am in the Midlands and East area, but again, as I say, we work across the country, working with lots of trusts at the moment on that engagement change management element. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Just a bit of an overview of the session content for today. Hopefully this will meet your expectations around the session, but there's going to be a little bit of background, as Julie mentioned, a little bit about digital partnering and, well, what is that, and where does the change management team fit within that function. We're going to very briefly have a look at the background to the toolkit and how it managed to manifest itself and come into being. And then we're going to have an introduction to the toolkit itself. We're going to just have a look at the navigation, give you a few hints and tips so you can get the most out of the toolkit itself. And then at some point, Julie will take you through some of the new tools that have been added for this version of the toolkit, and we'll also cover off a couple of things that have been updated as well. And there'll be something in there about our change network and trying to get as many people involved with that as we can. What we would appreciate is we panicked over the time. We want to make sure that we get on, all the information out to you. So as we're going along, if you've got any questions, if you could put them into chat. Between us, with our technical skills, we'll do our best to try and answer those questions as we go along. But if we stick to time, there should be time at the end for a bit of an open mic session. So if people want to come and talk to us at the end, then that facility will be there. So I hope that's okay with everybody. That's the content for today, and I think we'll now begin and start. And I think I have to hand over to Julie Atkins. Oh, Julie 1, as she is known in the team.
Yeah. Julie the first. Thank you. Thanks, James. You're running the slides, aren't you, James?
I am indeed. Just tell me when.
Thank you. So just again, I'm Julie Atkins. I'm the change management lead across digital partnering. And if you didn't know, digital partnering is part of NHS England, and our mission is to be recognised partner for building trusted relationships and delivering great NHS England products and services across health and care. So it's quite a broad remit. Change management is only part of what we do. And we thought it might be useful, if you can go to the next slide, please, James, to just give you a quick overview of what digital partnering does in its entirety. So trusted relationships are at the heart of what we do, and as we know, they're at the heart of delivering great outcomes. So we promote products, we promote our products at NHS England's products by looking at specific product placement to secure exec buy-in to adoption. We then deliver implementation to local teams to enable adoption, and that's actually where our change management service is mostly used, because of course we've come from, historically we were part of NHS Digital that is now being merged with NHS England. So we come from a predominantly digital environment where delivering the tech is the most important thing. So our implementation services need to focus on supporting organisations with their change management as well. We have strategic customer feedback, so what's missing from our products. We report on adoption utilisation. We've got a great analytics platform, and we provide customer intelligence to the wider organisation. So when the system CIO is making decisions about what's needed, we've got that customer intelligence function that allows us to do that. So we're a smallish function. We're only fewer than 100 people, but we've got quite big clout in the organisation for the breadth of things that we do. So if you move to the next slide, please, James. This is just a quick overview of our change management service. So we've got a core service offering that's been developed to meet change management needs, but it can be tailored and we can deliver bespoke change management. We've got lots of facilitated learning sessions. We won't be sharing the detail of that with you at the moment, but from basic introduction to change management through vision workshops and leading change workshops, we can then provide consultancy. So if there's a particular area of change management organisations are struggling with, and tailored support, so we can tailor our solutions to meet organisational needs. We're sort of an internal, as in internal to the NHS, consultancy service. We've got lots of activities that we support. Some of them are listed there, but I think the next slide has got a bit more information about which commissions we're currently supporting. So these are specifically change management commissions. So our organisation has commissioned a specific change management service. So for frontline digitisation, you may be aware that there are 150 trusts that are currently either extending, optimising, or even procuring for the first time an electronic patient record system. And we have a team of 10 people, Julie and Richard as part of that team, who are supporting directly change management to support the implementation of an EPR. We've also got electronic bed and capacity management systems. So we're working with 16 acutes that have currently to very rapidly implement electronic bed and capacity management systems to enhance patient flow over the winter period. And we've got a team of 3 change managers doing that, working with those 16 trusts. We have worked in the past, and we're just about to re-engage with a cyber improvement program. Again, looking at change management, which for me is staggering that cyber improvement is considering change management as being part of their offer, because that's, if anything's technical, it's cyber, and the fact that they're even thinking about that is great. We've then got GPIT futures enabling new market entrants. The GP system market is fairly tied down at the minute, but there are some new market entrants coming in, and if you imagine if they were piloted in a practice, those practices would need quite a lot of cultural and organizational change, as well as throwing in a new system. So we're supporting them. We're supporting lots of work around meds interoperability. And most recently, we're also supporting a pilot for MSK for electronic referral service, where effectively consultant to consultant. So it's an internal any-to-any referral service, which is quite exciting as well. And I think that's where we are in terms of who we are and what we do.
Brilliant. Have we got any questions that have come through the chat? There wasn't one that's necessarily related, but it was about sharing the slides, which yes, we will make sure that everybody gets a copy of the slides for a small fee, obviously, after the call. No, we will make sure that that those are distributed. Any other questions?
Nothing there, James.
Excellent. Thank you, Julie. That was a really good overview. Thank you. Richard, over to yourself.
Yeah, great. So I just want to give you a bit of background around the toolkit and how it came about. Firstly, can I just say I'm blown away by all the information you've put in the chat. It's great to see we've got the breadth of the UK, by the looks of it, joining the call. So it's really good that you've taken the time out to come on the call. So if you can move on to the next slide for me, James, please. And I just want to sort of bring to light how we talk about change when we are engaging with our stakeholders. We work in a digital world, and people believe that the core and the focus of change is around implementation. It's focused on the tech. It's what needs to happen and what needs to be done. So the business change elements and the focus of the tech, what's going to be the best system that we can have? What do other trusts have perhaps that help them along their journey? You can pop all the slides up, James, now. So people have always focused on tech, and they focus on the process of moving from the current state to their future state. But what's quite often been left behind is the element of people, the change management element, and the art of bringing the people on the journey along with you. What we believe is that without looking at all these elements of the onion, transformation is never going to be as successful as people believe it's going to be. So an element of change is bringing people along that journey with you. And the analogy being that without each layer of the onion, you're only going to end up in tears at the end of it. So thinking about business change is great, but we've got to include people on our journey, and that's our role in promoting that. And each layer of that onion adds more power, it's more powerful, and ultimately it leads to this utopia of full and successful business transformation. So you can move on to the next slide, James. And how we developed the toolkit was as a result of our subject matter expertise. So that's the digital partnering team within, at the time, NHS Digital, being asked to form part of a large organisational change programme. And when we were commissioned to support that programme of work, again, it was all focused around the business processes. There was not consideration for what the change meant for people. And what we needed to do was bring together through our expertise, and everybody in the team is change management practitioners with varying years of experience in working purely in change management. We needed to bring together tools that were going to support the organisation through its change. And we began to pull a repository together of different tools that would help and build a framework around those. So within health and social care, predominantly we've always used program and project cycles that follow a clear waterfall path. And we wanted to build a toolkit that complemented those phases. So the toolkit was developed through the use of looking at what is needed within a transformation, so pre-discovery phases, and leading all the way through to transformation being successful and post-implementation activities. So what was needing to happen. So we brought a lot of tools together. We created a toolkit, and that toolkit's use primarily was just going to be internal. It was to support a program of work of change, but it was then to support other programs of work within NHS Digital. But we were approached then by HEE.
I'm actually on call at the moment. Can I take a message or help at all?
Oh,
sorry, could I just remind people to put yourselves on mute if you wouldn't mind? Thank you. Sorry, Roger.
That's okay. So we produced the toolkit internally, and we were then approached by HEE as a partner who were looking to develop a toolkit around change management. And the director of digital partnering said, we've got one, we've developed one, it's an internal tool. So how can we make this available to other people? We then began working and we built the toolkit into the NHS Futures platform. The first version of that toolkit was made available in 2021. And what we're going to look at today is the third iteration of that toolkit. So that's how we came about. If you can go to the next slide, James. Where we are today is we've got 406 organisations that are signed up to the change management workspace within the Futures platform. The toolkit's been downloaded almost 2,000 times, and we've got over 1,000 members in our network. So within the space of around about 18 months, we've gone from an internal resource to a resource that's available across health and social care, and also wider into other government bodies as well. And so what we really want to do is take you through that toolkit and explain how we built it and the methodology behind that. So I'll pass back to James, and with a bit of luck, we'll take you through the toolkit, and please enjoy.
Go on then. Seeing as you've asked nicely, I will do. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to have a look at the toolkit itself, and as the slide says, a little bit around the navigation, and take you into the inner workings of the toolkit itself. So as Richard already alluded to, the toolkit is actually stored on a future NHS site. Once you've signed up, and there should be some links that should be appearing in chat simultaneously as I speak, that will give you a link directly to the toolkit. You will need, if you haven't already, to become a member of Future NHS, and then you will need to request access to the change management site, and then you'll be sent a link. But once you've gone through that little tiny process, you'll be on the change management homepage, and you can access the change management toolkit halfway down the page here. So there's a landing page for the toolkit itself. It's had a bit of a rebranding. It's got a new set of clothes, so hopefully it looks all funky and modern, which is we hope that you like. I just wanted to point out on the page here that when you come onto the toolkit, yes, you can download it, but you do actually get this preview pane, which is quite useful. If you don't have a downloaded copy of the toolkit available, you could go on here. It's got quite a nice little search function, which I'll look at in a minute. Just remember on the preview, though, that none of the links or the navigation actually work on this preview on the actual site. It's purely and simply for reference. But what you can do is you can move it into full screen. So, for example, if you wanted to give a presentation, then you can move systematically through the actual toolkit itself. The other thing that's quite useful is just the little built-in search function. So, for example, what can go wrong typing live on a live webinar? But anyway, I managed it. So there we are, stakeholder. And you'll see there's 210 matches, and you could quite quickly, so if there's a keyword that you're looking for, you could quite quickly type that in and see where it actually sits within the toolkit itself. So that's the preview. As I said, just remember that the links don't work. It just operates as a normal read-only PDF. What you might want to do, and what we'd encourage you to do, is actually to download the toolkit. And when you do, you will have a fully functioning version. One of the things that we recommend is that you use Adobe Acrobat Reader. Other readers are available, obviously, but Adobe Acrobat seems to be extremely stable and very good at this type of thing. We know that some of you may use browser-based PDF viewers. Just be aware that Microsoft Edge can throw up one or two anomalies within the toolkit. Not necessarily the content, but some of the links may not quite work as they should do. So this is the Change Management Toolkit. You'll notice we've got a brand new logo, and going back to Richard's overview of the Change Onion, you may just subtly see that there are a number of rings around the outside of the logo itself. The 5 chevrons in the centre represent the 5 phases that the Change Management Toolkit is built around. And as we all know and appreciate greatly, change management is very much about people. It's about individuals, it's about networks, and it's about groups, and that's represented by the little icon at the bottom. So I'm just going to go down here. One of the things that we've tried to do with the toolkit, and I suppose this is the same for us all, is really trying to get the message out there to everybody about the benefits of having a change management approach. And that's why we've put a little section in as well, which enables people that, and Julie knows this from our days with our steering group, is that people can quite often feel overwhelmed with change management. It's such a big field. So we've just tried to give people a little bit of a little bit of an overview, a little bit of a taste that this is the type of thing that you can find, or other things that you can go to find key information about change management. Navigation of the toolkit, you'll notice that we've got the home, back and next buttons at the top, so those should be self-explanatory. Just a reminder that the previous button doesn't actually work. That's a hangover from when it was created in PowerPoint, but all the other buttons and links will be fully functional, so you can jump between the phases quite easily. So as we've said, the Change Management Toolkit is built around this framework. We're not going to go into it in too much detail, but as you can see, each phase is built with a number of subsections into it, and we're going to have a look at a couple of those as we go through. So basically, starting with phase 1, pre-discovery, through solution design to post-deployment. So what we'll do is we'll just have a look at pre-discovery. And you can see that the way that the pages are set up, so we have an overarching objective, which in this case is defining the change, and some quite clear outcomes about engaging early and building executive relationships. And that's repeated down here. So the phase outputs are then divided into key activities. So what we're going to do is just have a look at change vision, defined and communicated. And again, you can see you get, a little bit of an overview, you get an introduction, and we've tried to put in additional information as well for you. So that's, supplementary information that may be useful. And that includes where we can. We've added in the relevant pages in the APMG Effective Change Managers Handbook. And we've also added in any useful web links that you might need as well. So here we are, we've got the change vision. We've also got some key activities. So I'm just going to click on this first one here, which is commence executive engagement. And again, the page is set up very similar. So you've got sort of an overview and a little bit more information around this particular activity. Again, the additional information that you may find useful, but the key bit here is that you get the access to the tools. If you download the toolkit, then presumably you will already be a member of Futures, which is good because all the tools that are listed actually link back to the site. So if I click on that particular tool, you can see there under what makes a good sponsor, plenty of information. We've pulled together some external videos as well if they're useful, but all the templates are set out in a very similar way. So it makes being able to access the tools really really easy, shall we say, to get through. So this is let's go back to the home. So again, this brings you back to the change phases, and each of the phases work exactly the same. So if we go into development, again, you can see what the phase outputs are. I'll pick one at random. And again, you can see that it'll take you to the relevant information really quickly and access to any relevant tools that you may need as well. Okay. One of the things that's quite useful, so we know that there's a huge amount of information within the change management toolkit. One of the things that can be quite useful though is if you're actually searching for something specific. So if you're not, for example, sure which of the phases something may sit in, so if I just go back here, then you can use the search function up here. So if you click on that, up will come the search function. One of the reasons we sort of recommend the Adobe Acrobat is that it's got the extended search as well. So for example, if I was just looking for some general information around stakeholders, then I can click on the little cog, open the full reader, type in what I'm looking for here, which is brought over stakeholder. And what you get is a contextual search as well. So you can see that there are many references to stakeholders as you would expect within the change management toolkit, but you do actually get a little summary of where that is actually mentioned. And as I say, a little bit of context around it. So if I click on that, get rid of that, it's taken me straight to this particular aspect. So it makes navigating around the toolkit really easy if you're working on keywords. Okay. So that is the change management toolkit in all its glory. What we would really want from today as well is for people to download the toolkit and to give us your feedback, on how you apply it, how useful it is. We really appreciate any feedback that people can give us. That was nearly a seamless transition. Have there any questions come up as a result of that whistle stop tour? Julie, Rich, anything?
James, we've had a few questions about what it relates to, what it links to, etc. And I've tried to make it clear in the comments, but just to pick up on that, it doesn't link or relate to any other framework. simply because it was as Rich said, we developed it for internal use, and then we've expanded its use from there. We can't relate it to every framework and every tool kit, handbook, etc. that's out there. So because of that, rather than saying we'll relate it to the NHS Change, etc., what we said was we'll just not relate it to any of them, and that way it is what it is, absolutely standalone. I think it's still got value. Lots of people who use it think it's still got value, but it absolutely doesn't relate to anything else that's out there.
Brilliant.
It also doesn't contradict anything else that's out there.
Yeah,
which is important.
It is important. That's good.
James, there is a question in the chat. I'll be quick.
Yep.
Was the toolkit developed using Adobe Creative or another piece of ebook type software?
No, is the short answer. The toolkit was developed using the wonderful world of PowerPoint. That's how it was originally developed. And going back to Julie's point, it was developed in that for a very good reason, and it was used internally, and it started out as I suppose you could say as well, it was used as a learning tool, still is in some instances, and that's why PowerPoint was. I'm a great advocate of PowerPoint, by the way, but that's how it started. I would. And maybe if we can all send an email to Julie, she might actually buy me some software that we can develop it in another medium. But no, it was developed in PowerPoint.
Actually, James, Arlene's making the point, and she was one of the original developers. It was originally a Word document. That shows how
that is true.
Developed it from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I came in much later after that. So
that's
yes,
great. Thanks, James. And I think for those that are asking about frameworks, commissioning, I think the word to use is complement. The toolkit's here to complement the work that you're trying to achieve. So I'll let Julie move on and take you through the next bit, and I'll continue answering some questions.
You're doing a sterling job, Richard. Thank you. Julie.
Thanks, Rich. James, that was a really nice segue. And yeah, absolutely. The change management toolkit. Yes, it's that roadmap to support us with that digital transformation, and it's absolutely complementary to all of those other tools out there. What I'd like to do now is just give you a little bit of a flavour of some of the new tools that we have developed and updated for you. So we're going to look at the what's in it for me benefits. And yeah, what we've got here, this is our what's in it for me benefits. And within our toolkit, we've created the pages in such a way that we have a standard framework. So on each of the pages, you're going to be able to see what the tool is, when to use it, who it's for, and why you use it and how to use it. And what you'll find on each of the different pages, there'll be some useful templates. There may be the occasional video, YouTube article. All of those sorts of things are really helpful resources. But essentially, the what's in it for me benefits is absolutely one of the key questions that we're always being asked around change management. People want to know how it's going to affect them and, you know, get to really understand the heart of what you're trying to do with any change. And for us, we like to say, actually, when looking at the what's in it for me benefits, we start this at the beginning. So we start that, if we think about that framework that James talked about, we start this in that pre-discovery phase. So do please have a look at the what's in it for me benefits. And James, I'm going to look at the next tool, please. So I'm going to introduce nudge theory. Now, this has been around for quite a bit of time now, and I think people are getting more familiar with more familiar with it, but this is how we're able to encourage individuals to make different choices by giving them that little bit of a nudge, and it's based upon those cognitive biases. And the reason we've picked this out is because with any change, it's all about the people, and we're looking at, you know, that engagement and that communication, and this is a sort of strategy that's going to really help when you're digging into those engagement and strategies with those people to make those choices around the changes. So again, please do have a look at the tools, and there is a really useful YouTube video there, particularly on nudge theory, and there's quite a lot more information on that page as well, but do, as I say, do have a look at that. Really interesting. And from our own research, we've been doing a little bit of work around that nudge theory from a sort of a theoretical understanding it. So very, very interesting. The next slide, James, please. Okay, so one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about is we've created one of our tools, and essentially this is part of the building blocks to enable us to support our change programme with that case for change. So it has lots of different components, but it's really important because it's explaining that vision, setting that scene, and enabling people to understand what the benefits are, but also the disbenefits of our change. And with people working on change programmes, it's important that we have a framework to enable us to do this. That there is a template there that you can use, and we would absolutely take a look at this, and it does help shape your engagement activities going forward with your change. Thank you, James. And we have been doing a bit of work on updating some of our tools. And one of the other ones that I want to talk to you about, and this is one of my favourites really, is our change management maturity self-assessment. Now, this is something that we recommend that you can do this for any change, and you can do this on a you can do a bit of a desk-based analysis on your own change programme. And it's based on, there's 12 components that we would look at in relation to this and help understand where you are in terms of that change for your organisation. And it gives you a real insight into some of the things that you can do. So you might be at that sort of very early stage, you might be at that pre-emergent, so you could potentially be at that pre-emergent stage for your vision or your case for change, but actually you may have done a bit more work in terms of that working on your change processes or something. And you can see on the right hand side on that picture there, we've got that component maturity score. And I love that radar, that you get that visual to really understand where you have the peaks and troughs in terms of that self-assessment to help you understand where you are on that change journey. And it gives you, when you drill down into that, it will also give you a range of tools that are going to help support you with each of those 12 components, depending on what element you want to focus on. So please, again, do take a look at that. Absolutely brilliant tool. Next slide, James, please.
Give us a second. I'm getting there. I forgot this is your marathon stint.
It is.
Take a breath.
Okay. Well, the toolkit as Rich and James have already alluded to, this is a tested framework that has been developed over years, but actually this toolkit is for everybody. From our perspective, when we think about change, and we've all got different experience of this, but if we think about it in how the toolkit's going to help us, people are often reluctant to do things differently when it comes to change. So the toolkit is a resource that's going to help people with that. We often get resistance for a particular project. People don't like to do that. So again, the toolkit's there to give you some tools and techniques to help take that forward. And we've already mentioned, if we think back to that change onion earlier that Richard talked about, that important element of the implementation, the business change, the people are at our core. And to get all of that, we have to have that, that utopia for that overall transformation. And if we think about those transformation programs, the biggest risk to those is people. We do often forget about that. So our framework, again, the Change Management Toolkit, has lots of tools and techniques that are going to help you with that. And one of the other things I love when I'm thinking about my change programs is about the benefits. And the image there, sometimes it's quite common to think about the low-hanging fruit in terms of our benefits. So what are those quick wins? But absolutely, with change programs, it's about making sure that the benefits are being realised across the programme. But also, if I think back to when I started on the session today with the what's in it for me benefits, making sure those benefits really link back, so you get the messages linking back to the people so they understand why the change is happening. Thanks, Rich, James. And this is just, again, a lovely reminder for you about the Change Toolkit. And we wanted an opportunity to think, absolutely, it's about everybody. You might be new to change, so you want to know some tools and techniques for that. You're interested in change management, so you can just dive in and you can click on those links and it will take you to a page there, will give you some guide and insights. Or you might be a project manager, sort of dipping your toe in, unsure on which next steps to take, but this toolkit's going to really help you with that. And it's about those networks, those communications, it's about those ideas, and it's about empowering you to be able to tackle that change within your organisation, because change is hard. Thank you, James. Next slide, please. And again, I wanted to remind us all that we have that standard framework for our toolkit. It's built upon those 5 phases, from that pre-discovery right through to that post-deployment. Because in the past, from experience, I've been brought in at an implementation, so at that, that deployment stage, and actually the resource then has moved on, and how we sustain and embed that change. So we must think about that post-deployment. So the toolkit's going to really help you with that. And last but not least, again, a reminder about that change, that transformation. Yes, it's about the process, it's about the tech. You can remember we talked about it stemmed from that tech to support those changes internally from our organisation. But absolutely, the message today is it's about the people. Change management is about supporting those individuals through that transition in their organisations, through that change that is happening. but actually remembering that people are also on their own personal transitional journey, and our Change Toolkit can help with that. Thank you.
Julie, thank you very much indeed. That was a bit of a marathon session. I'm sure you'll be having words later to say any chance that you could split them up next time. But no, that was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And now with his favourite picture,
Thank you.
we move over to Richard, who cajoled me into putting this image in for you.
Yeah,
so
thank
Richard.
you. So in the essence of time, and I'm conscious we want to get some questions in, this is about us started off. We started off small. We started off with a particular piece of work in time, but we want to grow the network. We want to grow the number of members that we have in the network. And we're looking to try and encourage the platform to become a discussion place, a place that people can come not only to use tools and find tools from the toolkit, but also to share ideas and experiences of changes that you may have within your organisation, but some peer-to-peer sharing of ideas as well. We want it to become a vibrant community, and we want to continue growing the network. So at the beginning, we started with 0, and at today we've got over 1,000 members, and hopefully as a result of this, many more of you are going to join up. And I think from the chat of evidence that people are already keen on signing up. We have a steering group, so we are constantly trying to evolve and grow. We need to understand what are the change tools that people need. So we have a monthly steering group that, again, people may want to look to see if there's availability to become involved in, but that will help us shape new tools and new ideas and how we go about developing those and then sharing them through the platform. So it is about growing our network. It isn't that this is a new version and we stop in the sand. We're looking for ideas around how we may best represent the platform, how a new toolkit would look, will it work for people? And I'm sure that after our session today, we're going to come out and ask some questions of people about how you found the section today. Thank you, Karen, for your message in the chat. I'm trying to, one eye's looking at one thing, one's looking at the other. But it is about coming together, and it is about working to collaborate and share our experiences in challenges faced through change. But how did we solve those? What tools did we use? And can we develop those and then share those wider across our community? So I think that brings us to the end of our overview. I hope it's been interesting and of great use for you. So we've given you that very quick overview of our team, how we came about, how we were founded, the look and feel of the toolkit version 3, the navigation elements and what we've released and what's new in there. And the key messages: it's a toolkit for everyone. It's there to complement the work that you're doing in other frameworks that you may have to adhere to. And we want to grow the network. We want you to be involved in our network. We want you to sign up, and we want you to help shape the way that we continue our development.